Hello and welcome to Mags and Tilson. Well guys, last week I wanted to change things up a little bit and ask you guys, a couple of questions and to get a little feedback from you guys. And the question I was asking is, how does the primary oil, how does it migrate inside the 4-speed transmission on our old iron heads? And after over 800 views, I got about 4 responses. And I was a little bit shocked at that, but that is just the way it goes. So before we get started with that, I want to go all the way back to 1952 and look at the K model Sportster left side engine crankcase. And as you can see here, it doesn't have a trap door. Back in 1952 to 1953, they didn't have a trap door. So when the dealers did any warranty work on the transmission, they had to split the crankcases, take a brand new engine out of a brand new motorcycle and split the cases in order to do any repair work on a 1952 to 1953 model. That's just the way it was. Until they introduced the trap door in 1954, and now we have a trap door. I can't blame all the dealerships. They must have been going through fits, trying to have to do any warranty work on these old K model Sportsters and having to take a brand new engine out and split the crankcases, to get any work done. Okay, I did an older video on how to fix the clutch hub wobble, and I want to incorporate that into this particular video. And then we're going to go ahead and pull out the clutch and pull out the primary chain and do all of that, and then we're going to reveal how the primary oil migrates into the iron head 4-speed transmission. So let's get started with this older video that I had put out a while ago. Now as you can see right here, I can pull it back and forth side to side, and there's an awful lot of play in this, and that's not good at all. Okay, about right here as I'm pulling up, you see the chain going up and down? That's an awful lot of play. Alright, so I'm going to take the whole thing apart and see what's going on inside this sub. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is pull off the pressure plate, pull out the clutch springs and all the spring cups, and we'll get these out of the way first. And so the release plate comes off last, and that's going to expose all of the clutch plates in here. Okay, now I just took everything out of there, and I'm going to lay everything out and inspect every single part that I have here. So it was shaking back and forth like this. As you can see inside of this, score marks inside all the way around. It's been going on for a long time, I think, and that's not good at all. So Yeah, they were just going around on there, just scoring up the whole thing. And kind of wobbling around in there like that. That's the culprit right there. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll inspect all these parts now, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, the race is inside there, right there, and it's got a lot of side play in it, and that's not good. Okay, I'll take that seal out next. And we'll pop the seal right out. It's still in nice shape. Okay, the race comes out. It looks to be in great shape too. It's not bad. And all the needle bearings in there are in good shape too. They seem to be. I don't see anything wrong, except that it's not pressed in enough. It's sticking out a little bit. That's not good. Oil holes right there, all three of them. Make sure they're clear. All three of these oil holes. You know, because they feed inside the bearing right there, so they always got to be cleared out. Okay, let's go ahead and check all the parts up here. And I stacked all of my clutch plates side by side, and they'll all go in the exact same way as I took them out. Okay, now's a very good time to check all of our springs. The free length of the clutch spring is supposed to be 1 5/8, 1.625. So let's go ahead and check all these springs out. And they all seem to be pretty good so far. 1.625. $1.625. Same way, 1 5/8. Okay, those are good. Now the Delron piece here is all chewed up, you know, from wear, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that while I'm in here. Not too bad. Okay, the clutch hub splines are in very good shape. I don't see that I have any wear on them at all, and all the studs and fine threads are in good shape as well. It's looking good. And we'll check all the parts out just to make sure they're all in good shape. Okay, the clutch pin seems to be in nice shape. It's not bent or it's not scored up or anything. It seems to be good. Okay, this is my clutch shell tool here, which I'll insert inside the clutch shell, and that's going to prevent it from turning around while I take off the hub nut. And this is a tool that I'm going to use that is going to be wedged between the sprocket clutch and compensator, so I can take off the compensator nut. And this tool I use to remove the compensator sprocket itself. Okay, the primary chain seems to look really good. It's not stretched out or anything like that. And the sprocket itself looks in great shape as well. And here's a look inside my 1968 XLCH inside the primary. And after I pulled everything out of it, you can see that nice, beautiful trap door. Unlike the 1952K model that didn't have a trap door. So it's nice to see this. And here's your oil transfer valve. And that arrow is showing where the primary oil goes into the trap door under there, right underneath the transmission counter sprocket. There's a hole drilled right through, and that's where your primary oil goes into your transmission, and that solves all the mystery. And as I said, out of over 800 views that I got on my last video, I got 4 responses. So I was kind of shocked that I only got 4 responses. But for all you guys who didn't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys did know, but just for the sake of all you guys who didn't know how the primary oil, how it migrates into the 4-speed transmission, there it is. Mystery solved. And off to the left, you see the transfer valve right there. And it has a triangular stainless steel reed in there, and it moves from left to right, and it moves only about 10 or 15 thousandths from the left of the primary case to the right side. And what it's there for, it's when you shut off your engine, it's going to sit sump. All that oil from the top end is going to drain down inside the bottom of your crankcase. Or if your bike is just sitting a long time and some of the oil is going to sump from your oil tank down to the bottom of the crankcase, and the oil begins to get kind of deep in your crankcase, it has a place to go. It's going to come out that oil transfer valve there, and it's going to flow into your primary. Your primary is going to be like a temporary holding tank for all that sumped oil. When you start up the engine and your piston begins to go up, it's going to make a positive vacuum in your crankcase, and that oil that has been stored in your primary is going to flow back inside the crankcase through the transfer valve. Transfer valve has got a tiny hole in there, under 1/8 of an inch, and that oil is going to flow through that little hole in a controlled fashion so it doesn't flood your oil pump when it's running. And then it's going to eventually make its way through the oil pump and back up to your oil tank, and it's going to fill up your oil tank again, okay? And that's how that thing works. And I could go in more depth about it. If some guys shut these oil transfer valves off, and they block them off, which I don't think is a good thing to do, because what's going to happen here is that sit sump oil, or that sumped oil when your bike sits a long time, is going to fill up inside your crankcase, and it has nowhere to go. It's not going to flow back into your primary. It has nowhere to go. So when you first start up the engine and that oil is cold, so the flywheels have to plow through all that sumped oil that is cold and thick, and you're going to hear the engine is going to labor because it's plowing through all that cold, thick oil, because the oil is stuck in the bottom of your crankcase, and it's going to kind of overwhelm your oil pump as well, and the rear cylinder is going to start to smoke until it starts to clear up, and so your oil pump is going to finally catch up to moving the oil back to the return line and flow back in your oil tank and to fill up your oil tank again. So it's not a good idea to shut this transfer valve off. Now, I've heard of some ironhead owners who are not really, don't have an understanding of these bikes. They want to run a gear oil in the primary and the transmission, or they want to run a transmission fluid. And they don't understand that through this transfer valve that the engine oil, the primary oil, they mix to a certain degree. And that's the reason why you should run straight 60 weight throughout the whole motor. And that includes the primary and the transmission. Just use straight 60 weight and you won't have any issues. Now, of course, you could adjust your straight weight oil up or down if it's going to be really cold outside and you need a thinner oil, or if you're going to run where it's really, really hot outside and the temperatures are extreme, and then you want to go to a little more thicker straight weight oil. But again, you use the same oil throughout the primary, transmission, and inside the motor. But straight 60 weight is a good all-around oil for your average temperatures. When you're going to be riding from about maybe 65 degrees up to about 95 degrees or a little bit more than that, then straight 60 is fine. And I've been reading about a lot of guys who are running 2050 weight in these old iron heads. And that's not the right weight oil to use in these old iron heads, because it is an iron head. It's not an Evo engine. Okay, now in an Evo motor, and then that's fine. That's what the factory recommends. But not in an old iron head. An old iron head, you run straight weight oil, man. You use straight 60 weight at least, okay? In fact, I know Amza Oil sells a straight 60 synthetic oil for these Harley Davidsons as well, for these old iron heads. Okay, let's get back into the clutch hub wobble, and we'll continue on with that. Okay, what I'm going to do here now is to press my needle bearing in at the proper depth because it's sticking out too far. Okay, now I'm going to press it in about maybe another 13 thousandths. I can't go too deep because I could have a spacer back there, and you can't pin that little spacer tight because it's got to float around in there. So a little press, just a little bit here. Okay, I think I hit the depth just right, and right back here, right, that little shim has to move around in there, just like that. Perfect. It's just the right depth now. Okay, next all we have to do is press a brand new oil seal in place. And so let's do that. Spring side has to go inward, not outward. So I'll put that spring side facing downward, just like that, and I'll start it by hands. So I make sure that seal is started nice and straight. Okay, now always press on the outside, okay? Never press on the inside. I'm going to press it in just a small amount here, just until it seats all the way down. Okay, not enough yet. I can see a gap back there. Right back there I see a tiny gap, so I have to press that deeper. Just a little bit more, and I think I'll have it. Just like that, I have it. Okay, it's looking good. I have the race now where it spins nice and freely, and I took out all that side play. Looking good. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to test fit it. I'm going to test fit the shell and to see if I took out all of that side play. Okay, now we'll install the race first, and then I'll slide the shell right on top of that spline shaft. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the hub on next. I'm going to put the hub over the spline shaft as well, and then I'm going to push it in hard with my right hand all the way, and then I'm going to test and see if I took all that side plate out of the shell. Okay, great, look at that. After I push it in tightly, I can tell that I took out all of that plate. All I really had to do is press in that bearing another 13 thousandths, and it got rid of all that side play. Just perfect. And that's the way you do it. Okay, all we have to do is bend back these 4 tabs. There's 2 on each side, and we'll pop out the small Delron shoe right here. I have a lot of grooves in it. It's kind of deep. It's got about 12,000 miles on it, so it's about the time to take it out. And I'll just pop it right out of there. All right, out with the old and in with the new. Okay, now it has a seat flush on both sides. Nice and flat like this, and nice and flush. And that's the way it should be. Okay, next I'll pin down both sides, nice and tight. Okay, next I'm pinning down all 4 tabs, 2 on each side. Okay, that's that. Next, our clutch hub is going to go in place. We'll set that all the way back on the spline shaft. And our locking tab is going in there. And push that locking tab all the way in the back. And finally, our O-ring is going on that shaft, right inside that groove of the shaft. And we'll set that in place. Spin on my nut over here. I'm going to insert a special tool here, and that's going to hold the clutch hub still while I tighten on that main nut right there. And if you don't have this tool right here, all you got to use is just an old drive plate. It does the same thing. I'll just tap it right in place here. Okay, I'm going to snug down both of these nuts here, and I'll go back and forth just to snug them up, and then I'll torque them down later. The compensator nut next, I'll tighten that thing down, and then I'll torque that down later as well. Okay, I'm going to torque down my compensator nut next. 150 foot-pounds. Torque this one down to 150 foot-pounds. Same thing. That's it right there, 150 foot-pounds. It's done. And here's a better look at the transmission trap door. You'll see that oil hole drilled underneath the counter shaft. That's to let your primary oil mix into your transmission. That's what that hole is for. And that's how you feed oil into your transmission, right through that hole in the bottom of your trap door, right underneath the counter shaft. And here's a better look at it right here. This is the back side of your trap door where you see that oil hole right at the bottom there. And you'll see your main shaft bearing sitting on top. That's your transmission main shaft bearing. And directly under that, you'll have your transmission counter shaft bearing. And then all the way in the bottom, you have that through hole that's drilled to let your primary oil migrate into your transmission. And that's the end of that little mystery. And once again, I'd like to thank you for watching Mags and Tillerson. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. You take good care of yourselves and have a great week.